Hello, Baby Bean and everybody on Baby Bean Storytime. My name is Grandma Cookie, and today I'm going to tell you a story. But first, I want you to grab your favorite stuffed animal, maybe your favorite blankie, and find your favorite reading spot. Today, we are in my bedroom with my grandma's backdrop. The reason why I'm in here is because I'm going to stand up and read this story because it's kind of a long story, and sitting down with long stories hurts my legs. So the story that I chose today was sent to me by somebody. I'm not sure who it was, but it's a nice little story. It's called The Plot Against the King, written by Kash Patel, art by Laura Vincent. So it's a new book. I'm going to show you the pictures. Once upon a time in the land of the free, there lived a wizard called Kash, the distinguished discoverer. Kash was known far and wide as the one person who could discover anything about anything. He found the holy grape deep in the enchanted forest, and he discovered who had stolen the sleeping princess. The heralds, who spread important news across the land with their herald trumpets, had sung of Cash's fame ever since he figured out that the Russians were cheating in the jousting tournaments. But all these quests had been easy for Kash, and as the sun rose and set over the land of the free, Kash found himself in grave danger, not of trolls or ogres, but of getting bored. That is, until the choosing day. On choosing day, the whole land gathered at the castle to choose the next ruler of the kingdom. The heralds had been announcing that Hillary Clinton would be queen. She says queenly things like thee and thou and forsooth, and her last name is Quinton, after all. But when the royal counter-uppers counted up the final votes, they realized the people had dared to choose the merchant Donald. The heralds and Hillary were horrified. Donald didn't care what the heralds said about him, and he was determined to make the kingdom great again. Thus, King Donald moved into the castle, and everyone turned to heed home. But before the people could leave, a herald jumped onto his stand to make a proclamation. "Wait!" he proclaimed through his herald trumpet. "Listen to what this noble knight has to say." Then a shifty-looking knight jumped into the stand. "Donald isn't the rightful king. Inside this steel box, I have found a paper that says Donald cheated his way to the throne." All of the people gasped. "We're shocked. How could he do such a thing?" "Apparently," said the shifty knight, "Donald made friends with the Russians while drinking cherry ginger ale in the Swirly Tower Tavern in Russian, and they helped him cheat." All of the people nodded. The heralds must be right. After all, they have loud trumpets and important pieces of paper. King Donald must be a cheater. And so even though they hadn't looked at all the facts, everyone agreed that King Donald was a cheater. Everyone except for Devon of the king's court. I'm going to switch sides. Duke Devon had known Donald for years, and he couldn't imagine the king had cheated. The Duke was loyal to the core, which is why Kash was not at all surprised when he walked through Kash's door. "Kash," said the distressed Duke, "I am distressed. I know these terrible, tragical, tangleful rumors cannot be true of King Donald, but the heralds keep saying that they are true. It must be a plot against the king." "That's a very serious thing to say," said Kash seriously. "What does King Donald think about all this?" "He calls them all fake heralds," shrugged the Duke, "but I must know what really happened." "We can't decide if they're right or wrong until we know all the facts. And if you're looking for facts, you came to the right place." Kash put on his wizard hat. "I am this distinguished discoverer, so I can discover anything about anything. I'll help you on one condition. I must share the truth with everyone, no matter what I find." "Of course," said Duke Devon. And so they set out on the quest for the truth about the plot against the king. For the first stop, Kash and Devon visited the shifty knight and his herald friends. "I'm absolutely sure that Sir Trump is a cheater," the shifty knight said. "I found the paper that proves it right here in this steel box." But when Kash looked into the box, he found a long, sticky, silvery streak of slime. "Ah," said Devon, "I've seen this before." He and Kash hurried to the slug stables in a shadowy corner of the castle. Whoops. Let's see. The keeper of the slugs, named Keeper Comey, was in charge of delivering all the king's secret messages, but on his desk, Kash spotted a suspicious letter. "Aha!" cried Kash. "Now we know where the mysterious rumor came from. All we have left is to discover whether or not Hillary Clinton is lying." So the letter says, "Dear Comey, most sincerely I thank thee for the service of delivering my papers and with thine slugs to the steel box so sneakily. Forsooth in all the land shall not be found a deceiver so daring or so devious. All my love, Hillary Clinton." That very evening, Kash and Devon set off for the kingdom of Rashonian to seek the Swirly Tower Tavern. But when they arrived, there was no such place to be found. They searched and searched. They looked around all the corners and all of the cracks. They even asked the locals, who only huffed and grunted and couldn't help it all. No one had ever heard of such a place. "I've discovered," said Kash, "that the Swirly Tower Tavern cannot be discovered. The steel box paper is looking very suspicious." "It only makes sense," said Duke Devon. "Everyone knows King Donald doesn't even drink cherry ginger ale." Kash and Duke Devon hurried back to the land of the free, straight to the king's castle. They had an important meeting to call. All of the heralds and all of the knights filed into the room. The shifty knight stood at the very front. Kash declared the steel box paper is not true. We went to Roshonia and we discovered there is no Swirly Tower Tavern. So now I need to know, do any of you have any other reason to believe King Donald cheated in any way? One by one, they all scratched their heads and cleared their throats and said, no, I don't know of any reason or any way. Afterwards, Kash followed the shifty knight outside. If you didn't have a reason to believe that King Donald was a cheater, why did you say all those nasty things about him to the heralds? We tried our best to find evidence. Keeper Comey even sent his slugs into the castle to spy on the king, but I don't care that we couldn't find anything. The shifty knight shifted. I just really don't like Donald. Then the shifty knight ran straight to the heralds. Heralds, he said, go forth throughout the kingdom. I have a very good reason to believe that King Donald is a cheater. What is it? The heralds asked. I can't tell you. It's a secret. The shifty knight smiled. Oh, said the heralds. They all loved secrets. We'll tell everyone right away, and so they did. All of the people nodded when they heard. They must be right. After all, they have loud trumpets and an important secret. And so everyone agreed that the shifty knight was telling the truth, even though they didn't have any reason to believe him. As he watched all of this happen, the king became sad. They're still spreading lies, he told Kash. How will the people ever learn the truth? Kash sighed. He knew the answer. It was up to him to present the evidence to the people. Gathering his courage and all of his evidence, Kash dashed up the stairs that wound around the gold tower, but Hillary and Shifty Knight were right behind him. When Kash reached the top, he paused to tie his wizard shoes. Unfortunately, Hillary and the Shifty Knight didn't see him stop, and they tumbled over him. Kash stood up and addressed everybody. Everybody, I am Kash, the great wizard and the distinguished discoverer. I have discovered that the king, King Donald, is innocent. He did not work with the Rashonians, and he did not cheat. You chose him, so he became king, fair and square. Hillary wrote that paper and had her sneaky slug slide it into the steel box for the Shifty Knight to find. Now that you know more of the facts, it's time for you to think carefully and decide what you think of the king. Don't just trust the person with the loudest trumpet. The people paused and considered Kash's speech. We shouldn't have believed that the king was a cheater without any proof. They said now that they had all the evidence, they clapped and cheered and threw a huge party for the king. The Shifty Knight tried to say Kash was lying, but the knights of the oval table carried him, Hillary Quinton, and Keeper Comey out of the kingdom, banishing them forever. Some of the heralds kept spreading the rumor, but they soon grew bored. They moved on to more exciting tales, declaring the sun was made of mustard and would soon drip down and make everything yellow and mustardy. Kash only shrugged. As long as there were people in the land of the free, someone would be trying to spread a ridiculous story. But Kash was satisfied that he knew the truth, and after his proclamation, everyone else who wanted to know what really happened could learn it too. And so Duke Devon, King Donald, and Kash the distinguished discoverer went back into the castle to share a nice meal with no cherry ginger ale. With that, the kingdom was made great again, and from that day on, they lived happily ever after. The end. So, thank you for watching Baby Bean Storytime. I hope you enjoyed the plot against the king. I think I have another book to go with this one, so you might hear the next story next week. I'll see you next time.